Hello, pilot. Come and fly away with me to Reynard Beach, where you're in the back seat of this M-Gear. I mean, take a look at this cockpit. It's freaking huge. I guess you're gonna be my goose, like from Top Gun. Or I'm pretty sure that's what his name was. He was a really cool guy. Has been a long time since I've seen that movie. Anyway, this is my second M-Gear instructional video. In this video I'll be talking about the M-Gear's skills and what they do. I won't go 100% in-depth into them. I'll be doing that in a basic M-Gear piloting skill video or even an advanced video, but I'll talk quite a bit about them. And I'll also do the M-Gear hotbar, which is this saying down here, the 3 hotbars in their setup, in another video, because I like to talk a lot and it actually takes a long time. If you're not someone who minds sitting down, doing nothing, eating chips or popcorn as you watch me yap, then these instructional videos might be for you. Before I go on talking about the M-Gear skills, I just want to mention that I'm by far not the most experienced or competent M-Gear pilot person. The reason being for this is that I started this game, Ace Online, March 19th. I never played its ancestor, the Space Cowboy Online MMO. I mean, well, actually I did, but I don't consider that I did because I only played an M-Gear for 20 to 30 levels. So yeah, a lot of people played Space Cowboy Online. I did not. So if they have feedback or stuff or opinions, listen to them as well. Also, if you have suggestions, comments, or even corrections, just say them. I don't mind being corrected if I say something wrong. I'd rather say something right. And I'll probably add things here in annotations later to help entertain you. Well, let's get to the meat of it. The M-Gear skills. I'll be doing this in a level format, as in you'll get this skill at a certain level. And that way you'll get a chronological sense of how the M-Gear develops. So the very first skill you get as an M-Gear when you start out is the Fire Shot buff. You get this at level 9. What it does is it increases the damage of your standard weapon, which is your machine gun thing right here. Standard weapons or guns come in all sorts of flavors though. For this skill, which does the same thing as missile shot, you want to mainly use it for grinding to help decrease your kill time on shooting mobs. It's optional though to use this in PvP. The reason for this is that you'll be mainly supporting your team, and so you don't need to always have it on. There's also a certain level, which is mid-level, which you get the most damage percentage increase versus SP ratio. What this means is that this skill costs a certain amount of SP when you use it. Eventually, the higher levels, when you upgrade this skill, it'll be like it'll increase 1 to 2% in damage compared to the last level of skill, but the SP cost will rise up by 20 or 30, which is quite a bit. My opinion on this is 2 things. One, it's alright if you want to go for the SP cost reduction. That ain't a bad thing at all. Number 2, the M-Gear has a ton of SP, has the most SP typically of all the gears, so it isn't bad, it isn't class breaking if you upgrade that skill. Anyway, let's move on. The next skill you get is at level 10, and it's the Fuel Replenish skill. This is a very important skill, even though it's very simple and basic, because up here in the upper left you get a fuel gauge, and if this fuel gauge reaches 0, you crash. In long wars and things like that, people want to refuel, and you will need to use it in order to help them out. I pretty much explained replenish fuel in my very first video, so I won't go into depth anymore. Basically, if you have it, keep it somewhere on one of your hotbars, because you will use it, and when you need to, that person will probably be at like 10 or 20 fuel, and he will need it in that instant or else he will crash, which is kind of humorous. How am I doing on time? Okay, we're doing good. We're doing great. We're zipping along. At level 13, you get Missile Shot. This increases the damage percentage of your advanced weapon. Like Fire Shot, you definitely want to use this during grinding. However, when you're doing PvP, also known as wars, it's totally optional because you can save SP and just focus on healing and buffing your team and supporting them. And the next set of skills are at level 14. They're called your group buffs or raging buffs. And you got raging defense, raging fire, and raging evasion. Defense increases your defense percentage, fire increases your damage percentage, and evasion increases your, well, evasion. The deal with these skills are three things. The first thing is, right when you get these abilities, you always want to use them, because not only do they benefit your teammates, they benefit you. And in fact, at the higher levels, since your personal defense buff here and your group defense buff here increase your defense percentage, which reduces, how much damage you take by quite a bit. Since your defense highly depends on this, you will want to have formation buffs on all the time. The second thing is that you can only use these abilities while in a formation. So M-Gears typically want to join a formation even if it's random, even if they solo, like myself right here. I've joined this random formation with this guy named Rem. Hi Rem! I've joined him so I can actually use these buffs. The third and final thing with these buffs is that when you die, they do not disappear. In fact, when you die from combat or from PvE, you do not lose any buffs on yourself. I have these buffs on right here. If I die, this stuff up here does not disappear. And this was introduced in episode 3.2, a pretty recent major patch to the game. And this is great because for two reasons, really. First reason is people will save up on SP, especially M-Gears. They don't have to rebuff this long list of buffs for themselves whenever they die. The second thing is that since people since people can keep their buffs a lot more easily, they can have builds which depend more on M-Gear buffs and succeed a lot more, and it makes formation buffs all that more important in PvE. So if you ever get a big group of active people, make sure you try to buff absolutely everyone in the one zone. It will definitely maximize on your skills here, and they will love you for it. Alright, still doing good on time. The next skill you get, and actually you get several of them at this level, level 20 is a very delicious level for an M-Gear as you develop. Next skill you get is Defense Up. It's what I call a personal defense buff, which means it affects yourself, and it increases your defense percentage. Let me just show it right here in the status window. When I use Defense Up, it increases my defense percentage here by at least 11% or so. I'll just show it in this window here. Here's Defense Up, 11.7%. And just to re-illustrate how group defense and personal defense are good, this one increases 19%, this one 11%. Essentially, I get 30 to 31% increase in my defense. My base defense is about 77%. Now I have a whopping 108% defense. So even if you're an attack build M-Gear, having 20 to 30% more defense is great because that can stave off some damage. You always want your defense buffs up at all times in war, especially if you're a defense build. And so it's all that more important to be in a formation, so you can always use your formation buffs. The next ability I'll describe, which you also get at level 20, is Repair Target. I'm sorry, actually that's the website name for it. They've changed the translations, otherwise known as localizations in this game, to improve on, the game making more sense. It's actually called Energized Target in the game. This is your shield heal, and whenever you use it, a cursor comes up. I'll explain more on shield heal. I'm running out of time, so now I'm going to start on my next set of videos for describing the M-Gear skills, and when I come back, we'll talk more about the shield heal. Thanks for watching.